What's good? Welcome into Titans Today. Free agency has slowed down, but we're still going to give you some updated free agent targets. Right after you hit that sub button, make sure you go down and subscribe. We'll keep you covered on all the offseason news, rumors, analysis, everything surrounding the Tennessee Titans. We'll have it right here for you. The link is right below. Hit it, subscribe, get yourself covered for the offseason. Titans, free agency, the moves they've already made, starting with Andre Dillard, started to bolster the O-line with that move. A little bit of a backup, trying to prove himself, coming to Tennessee to prove himself, which is a common theme in a lot of the guys that the Titans have signed during the offseason. Luke Gifford from the Cowboys, hopefully a helpful hand to the defense, may just be a special teams ace like he was in Dallas. Azeez Al-Shaair, Daniel Brunskill, both guys coming from the 49ers under Ran Carthon. They're familiar with Ran Carthon, as well as Arden, another guy that was signed who played while Carthon was in the front office. This is something that I like to see. I think it tells you that Carthon trusts these guys, that he thinks they'll be a good fit. You've got a re-signing of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, Naquan Jones, re-signings, not anything huge. I don't think Westbrook-Ikhine is going to be a star of the offense. We didn't see that before. I don't think we'll see it again this season. And then, of course, Sean Murphy-Bunting. That was probably one of my favorite moves done in free agency, coming over from Tampa Bay. He'll be a good help, a good asset to the passing defense that really struggled last season. And look, there have been a lot of questions about some of these signings. Why are we only signing backups? We need somebody to come in here and get some work done. Ran Carthon addressed it. He said, look, I think the overall arch and view of the guys we all brought in is every guy has starter level ability. They just haven't had the opportunity to be a full-time starter. And if you kind of think about it, it is kind of how Mike Vrabel's career started. He was a third-round pick in Pittsburgh, never started in Pittsburgh. He got his opportunity in New England, and obviously the rest is the rest in how he became the player he became. Each of these guys have log starts here and there, but they have never been full-time starters, and they're guys that we believe in that can become starters in our league. He addressed those concerns. He hears y'all saying, look, we want people that are going to come in here and get the job done, that are going to make this team better. We don't want backups. He addressed it. He says, and he's right. I don't think these guys are necessarily backups. I think they just haven't had the opportunity. They've been surrounded by people who just fit the system a little bit better than they did where they were previously. I think coming into Tennessee, you're going to see a lot of these guys step up into that starter level ability that Ran Carthon just talked about. That being said, those signings have been made. There are still a lot of questions on this roster. You've got the draft in a little less than a month. But free agency is still a play. You can still make moves here. What moves can you make? You're limited. I'll say that. But before we get started on who exactly they could go out and sign, name a player you want to sign. If you can think of any free agent that you think would benefit the Titans, head down to the comment section. You're going to get hit with an ad break here. Perfect time to pepper that comment section with your response. Wide receivers. This is the big one here. I know there have been a lot of questions on why they haven't already signed a receiver in free agency. You've watched guys go off the board that you were hoping would put on a Tennessee Titans uniform in 2023. I'm thinking DJ Chark was the most recent guy that we were kind of holding out for, hoping that they would make a move, but they haven't, and the options are dwindling. You've got Treylon Burks, who, yes, you're hoping that he flashes in his second year. He's got the ability. You know what he's capable of. You just hope he can put it all together in the NFL. Again, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I don't think he's going to be a star on the offense. I think that was more of a just kind of a fallback plan, have a little bit more depth in the chart. And then Kyle Phillips, you want him to also kind of flash this year. Good slot receiver, but was injured. You really need to bring in somebody who's got speed, strength, size. Well, are you going to find that in free agency? Because seriously, you're dwindling down here. I mean, these are some of the guys that are left. You've watched You've watched these guys go off the board one by one, and the Titans didn't make any moves. Now you're left. OBJ, of course. OBJ, great. Is he going to come to Tennessee? Probably not. He's very expensive. He's a little bit injury-ridden coming off that ACL injury. And rumor has it that he's going to end up in New York with the Jets if Aaron Rodgers can figure out that deal. I don't think he's looking to come to Tennessee, to be completely honest, and I don't think he fits the bill for Tennessee. Jarvis Landry, another guy who was on a one-year deal with the Saints, injury-ridden. Came out hot, got hurt, came back, wasn't the same. Do you really want to bring in a receiver later on in his career that is facing injury trouble? Probably not. Olamide Zaccheaus. Now, he's not the biggest, but this guy is a workhorse, and Arthur Smith had nothing but good things to say, that he is a benefit to any team he's on. He works his butt off. He fits. He can block. He's good for big runs. He's just smaller, and on the bright side, he's not injured. So there's that. But like I said, you're really getting down to the bottom of the barrel here. You don't have many options in free agency. So do the Titans take a chance? Maybe sign Zaccheaus? Do they sign somebody in free agency, a wide receiver? I don't know. Should they? Maybe. Let me know in the comments section. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Personally, I don't think free agency is where you're going to find your receiver. I think that ship has sailed. I think they missed that boat. They should have done it much earlier in free agency when you still had some guys who could bring the veteran experience, who weren't injury-ridden, who could lead this receiver room, pair well with Treylon Burks. You really don't have that option anymore in free agency. Personally, I think at this point, if you really need a vet in this receiver room, you're going to have to trade for him. And you hear the DeAndre Hopkins rumors about whether he'll land in Tennessee or where he's going to land. He's getting up there in age, and that's a concern. You know, is the best of his career behind him? Can he continue on the trend that he's been on? You're going to have those questions regardless of whether you sign a vet in free agency or trade for one. I think your better option is to trade for one at this point. I don't think you're going to find a veteran wide receiver that fits what you need in free agency. Receivers aren't the only thing that the Titans are lacking. They're lacking a little bit of chemistry and kind of I just want to put it this way. The O-line is not where it needs to be. They made some moves. Yes, they signed Andre Dillard, Daniel Brunskill. They tenured Aaron Brewer. And this was a little bit controversial because people aren't sold on him yet. It does look like he'll be starting at center. You've got Dylan Radins, who is coming off of his injury. You hope that he's ready for the season. You can't bank on that. And then Nicholas Petit-Frere, who still needs to prove himself a little bit. Now, I will say Daniel Brunskill is a little bit more comfortable at right guard. Depending on what happens with Radins, how he recovers from the injury, you might have Brunskill at right guard, leaving that left guard position open. Again, you are running out of options here. Dalton Risner, Justin Pugh, Trey Turner. Okay, maybe you go out and get them, but are they really an upgrade? Are they really the piece that's missing on this O-line? Because if we're going to talk about that, then I don't think you should have let Nate Davis go. And I think if you don't make a move that is absolutely going to bolster this unit together, I think you miss Nate Davis. I think I'm not completely sold on that move. I think he would have been very good to kind of bring these guys together. I think they made some of the right moves in free agency. Letting Nate Davis walk probably wasn't the best one. But if you're going to let him walk, you better be able to fill his shoes. I don't think that's done in free agency. I think you hope to grab somebody like Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson in the draft, if they're still on the board at that point, and hope for the best. But you've got the good thing is you've got some vets that you've just recently signed that can bring kind of leadership to an O-line that is just in shambles right now that you're trying to piece back together. You may be able to go out and get a rookie that can play left guard and kind of mix everything together in a good way. And finally, we've got to talk about the tight ends. Look, Chig, I am looking forward to seeing Chig step up. I think he was a little bit slept on in 2022. You know, these are good numbers for a tight end, especially with the Titans offense. He did a good bit for the offense that was really struggling when Ryan Tannehill was out. That was really struggling just to figure out the passing game in general. But he led all rookie tight ends in receiving yards, and he finished with a rookie tight end record of 2.61 yards per route run, which ranks second in the NFL behind Tyreek Hill. I think you're going to see him used much more this season, but you still need some depth because the guys behind him are practice squad guys. You've got Cameron Brate, Drew Sample, Mercedes Lewis. I don't think they were ever really going to go after a tight end in free agency. I know we talked about whether they would re-sign Austin Hooper. Obviously, they didn't. We talked about Foster Moreau before he decided to step away from football for a little bit for his cancer. God bless him. Prayers with his family. But I don't think the Titans were ever going to try to sign a tight end in free agency. I think they're going to look more towards the draft for that. But, I mean, these guys... You're needing depth. I think Chig will hold it down primarily, but I think they're looking for a little bit of depth. I think they do it in the draft, though. How many more players will the Titans sign in free agency? They haven't done much. They've been a little bit more conservative on the free agency side. I think we all thought they were going to be a little bit more splashy. They weren't. Rand Carthon kind of kept it calm, cool, and collected. I'm not sure what they're planning, but I don't think they sign too many more guys in free agency. Let me know what you think. Head down to the comment section. Give me your opinion. As always, appreciate you for watching, and we'll see y'all soon.